Welcome back for a new sales history. Or not sales history, but box office history. Where I look at a specific movie franchise, give the basics, year it was released, the title, domestic and worldwide box office. So, with that said, this time we're looking at quite a large franchise that has not had a new installment in 5 years so far. And that is the Star Trek series. We have quite a few films, so let's get to it. Enjoy the retro wave music in the background that I chose. So, first we start off with Star Trek The Motion Picture, released in 1979, believe it or not, rated G. I would have thought it'd be PG, but whatever. With a budget of $35 million. Pretty decent sized budget for that time. Um, 100% of its box office would be domestically. It would make $82,604,699 for the original Star Trek film. Next, we would see the, of course, highly beloved second film of the series, which is Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, released in 1982, rated PG, with a budget of 11.2 million, so about a third of the budget of the first film, which is no surprise. It would actually, though, do less money, even though today people praise Khan. At the time, 100% of its box office would be domestic, and Wrath of Khan only made $78,912,963. Then we move on to 1984, and that would be the release of the third Star Trek film, The Search for Spock, rated PG, budget unknown. Um, Also, again, only domestic box office. It would do 76,471,046. Now, personally, of the old original lineup of Star Trek films, I personally actually liked The Search for Spock more than quite a few people. Next, we have the fourth installment, with that being Star Trek 4 The Voyage Home, released in 1986, rated PG, budget unknown. Once again, only released domestically, but this film would do better than all the others previously. It would do $109,713,132. Then we would get, arguably by many people's opinions, the worst Star Trek film of all time. That being Star Trek V The Final Frontier, released in 1989. Budget unknown again. Domestically, The Final Frontier would do 52,210,049. And then we get the last of the original lineup of films, and that is Star Trek VI The Undiscovered Country, released in 1991, budget unknown. It would actually have a worldwide release. Domestically, would make up 77.3% of its box office, $74,888,996. Globally, it would do $96,888,996. Then we go to the first of the Next Generation era, which was released in 1994, and that being Star Trek Generations, which is one of my personal favorite Star Trek films. Easily, probably in my top 5 favorites. Um, with a budget of $35 million, it domestically would make up 64.1% with $75,671,125. Worldwide, it would do 118 million $1,125. Next, we would get arguably, in many people's opinions, the best Star Trek film of all time. For me, this is probably my second favorite Star Trek film of all time. It goes back and forth with being number one. That being released in 1996, rated PG-13, the first PG-13 film. That being Star Trek First Contact, of course involving the Borg. Total budget unknown. It would do 63% of its box office would be domestically. It would make $92,027,888. Worldwide, it would do $146,027,888. So, arguably by far the most successful box office of the series so far. Then we would see, I think, an overly hated film that I personally kind of like. That being Star Trek Insurrection, released in 1998, rated PG. Budget $58 million. Domestically, it would do $70,187,658. Domestically would be 62.3% of its box office. Worldwide, it would do $112,587,658. Next, we would have the last of the Next Generation era before we would see the era of J.J. Abrams. The last film would be Star Trek Nemesis, which, to be fair, I did not care much for. Rated PG-13. Budget was $60 million. Domestically would be 64.2%. It would do $43,254,409. Worldwide, it would only do $67,336,470. So, made $67 million on a $60 million budget plus advertisement stuff. It lost the studio money. Next, we would see the first of the JJ era, released in 2009, simply called Star Trek. Rated PG-13 with a budget of $150 million. Quite an increase. Domestic would be 66.8%. It would do $257,730,019. Worldwide, it would do $385,680,446. To put that in comparison to box office, Star Trek, the first one, worldwide would do more than Star Trek Nemesis, Insurrection, and First Contact combined. Plus about half of a fourth Star Trek film. In comparison, how big Star Trek, the first of the JJ era, was. And then we would come to the most successful Star Trek film of all time. Released in 2013, PG-13. Star Trek Into Darkness, which goes back and forth for being my personal favorite Star Trek film of all time. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, the old school Trekkies. Believe me, I know. My dad is an old school Trekkie. Me and him very much disagree on Star Trek films. Very much so. As well as shows. But Star Trek Into Darkness would have also a budget of $190 million. Pretty big budget. Domestically would be 49% of its box office. It would do $228,778,661. Worldwide, yeah, by far the most successful. It would do $467,365,246. That's pretty impressive for a Star Trek film. Then we come to the final one, which of course was executive producer JJ, because he was busy with Star Wars at the time. That being arguably probably my third favorite Star Trek film of all time. That being Star Trek Beyond, released in 2016, PG-13, $185 million box office. Domestically, 46.2%, it would do 158,848,340. Worldwide, it would do 343,471,816. And that is it for this installment of Box Office Sales History. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Stay tuned in the near future for a new one I'm doing. It's going to be a relatively short one because it's on a trilogy. The next installment of this series is going to be on the motion picture adaptations of C.S. Lewis books, or 3 books specifically. The Chronicles of Narnia will be the next installment of this series, so stay tuned for that. And I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Of course, this is the Goku Report, and stay tuned for a new movie review I have coming soon. It's gonna be a surprise when I upload. I'm also planning on working on a new album review, or of a recently released album from a couple years ago, and that being the album Prequel by Ghost. So with that said, I'll see y'all next time, and stay safe. And hopefully enjoyed the retro wave music.